It's easy for me to trust God in a lot of areas of my life. I trust Him to provide for my family. I trust Him to keep me safe and to give me amazing friends and amazing community. I trust Him to give me opportunities to grow and learn. But I had never really trusted Him with my finances. My finances and my faith were very separate for me. So last year when Pastor JD was telling us about Heart for the House, he really encouraged us to pray to God and ask God what our number should be to give. So I started doing that in my prayer time. I started asking God, how much do you want me to give? And the number He gave me was a pretty scary number, and it was something that seemed impossible for me to give at the time. So I started reasoning with God and, making excuses, doing calculations in my bank account, and I came up with a number that I thought was more manageable, something that I thought I could give. So I followed through with that number, that safe number that I had come up with, but later that night I was just struggling because I knew I hadn't been obedient to what God had asked me to give. I hadn't given Him my all. Throughout the rest of the week, I just couldn't shake that feeling like I hadn't been obedient to God, like I hadn't given the amount that He asked me to give. So I wrestled with it all week, and then finally one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna trust God with this. And I went online to our church website and I typed in the amount that He had asked me to give. I stared at it for a second and then I finally hit the give button, and I felt like I had truly been obedient and I had given God my all, and it was in His hands. The very next day, after I had given that scary number, I started to see God work in my life. He opened a door relationally that I had been waiting on for months. He answered questions that I'd been asking for a very long time. And he even, 10 days later, I walked into my boss's office and he sat me down and he said, "Emma, we're promoting you." And I had been waiting on that promotion for a very long time. So my boss handed me that piece of paper and, I'm reading over my new title, my new job description, and I land on my new salary number. And I was just in awe of God's faithfulness, because that salary number was exactly 10 times what God had asked me to give. Looking back, it's amazing to see God's faithfulness. Through my obedience, He turned my fear into faith, and it all started last year at Heart for the House.